Damn, is Chris Rock really about to be forever known as the dude that got smacked by Will Smith? That sucks. Okay, I didn't think I was gonna do it, but let's talk about Will Smith. So we all know what happened between Will Smith and Chris Rock the other night, and if you don't, well, how do I put this? Will smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. Oh, wow. Plain and simple. Well, it really isn't plain or simple. Like, I'm really about to break it down for you because there are so many layers to this. But a quick recap of what happened. Basically, Chris Rock was presenting, I think, Best Documentary or something. And when acknowledging Will and Jada in the audience, Chris decided to make a G.I. Jane joke, referring to Jada's shaved head. And for those of you who don't know or didn't know at that moment, Jada has spoken out about suffering from alopecia, which is an immune disorder, I believe, that causes hair loss. And I actually didn't know that before this whole situation. I tend to not pay too much attention to the Smith family socially. Now, whether or not Chris actually knew that at the time, I have no idea, but Will isn't feeling it and Jada is definitely not feeling it because we see her rolling her eyes, and moments later, Tupac possesses Will Smith. He casually walks on stage, smacks the shit out of Chris Rock, and casually walks off. And you know what? Let's just play it. Come on, let's play it back for me.
Lord! Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
Bruh, when I first saw this video, my jaw absolutely dropped, like wide the fuck open. I can't front, I definitely giggled a little bit, but this was so unexpected, especially coming from Will Smith. Like, Lupita's face expression was spot on. Like, her reaction was exactly correct, period. Now, there's so many layers to this, so let's just get into it. I'm not mad at what Will Smith did. Do I agree with his actions wholeheartedly? No, not really. I do think it could have been handled better or differently maybe, but am I mad? Nah. And that's not to say that I'm choosing Will over Chris. Like, I have nothing against Chris Rock outside of his bullshit documentary about black women and hair. Like, throw that whole shit away. And to sit up here on this stage and in this day and time and you're still making jokes about a black woman's hair, you should have known better. Like, do better, bruh. When it comes to people who are a threat or doing damage to the black community, like, Chris Rock isn't really on my radar. But seriously, good hair was a piece of trash. Like, take it and put it in the trash and then put your big girl boots on and then push it down into the trash so that you could fit more trash in it and then put more trash on top. Yeah, that's what you should do with good hair. But anyways, I also noticed a lot of people have been commenting on Will's initial reaction to the joke, which is him laughing or giggling, really. Like, that wasn't like a good laugh because the joke really wasn't that funny. It was a ha-ha. But yeah, we see him laughing or chuckling until he sees Jada's reaction. Now, I can't say, nor can anybody really say, what was going on in Will's mind at the moment of when he switched from giggling to ready to smack the shit out of a nigga. It could have been that he genuinely thought the joke was funny until he saw Jada's reaction and then felt like he needed to not only publicly defend her, but put a little extra sauce on it. Which is what I'm sure most people saw and why I feel like a lot of people think that he overreacted because he needed to redeem himself for initially laughing at the joke. What it also could have been is, I feel like we've all had that moment when somebody says something out of pocket or even takes an underhanded shot at you and you have a delayed reaction, or your first reaction isn't your real reaction, either because you wouldn't expect someone to disrespect you to your face, or it could be because of the environment that you're in and you have that, wait, the fuck did you just say moment. I've had that. I know a lot of y'all have had that, and I feel like that definitely could have been the case. And lastly, it could just be that laugh that you do when you're in an uncomfortable position and don't know how to react. And lastly, like for real, what it could have been is on the way to the Oscars, for all we know, they could have been having a conversation on some like, yo, we need some content for the next Red Table Talk, so any opportunity that we get, boom, we need to make something happen. And Will could have been laughing, and then Jada could have been like, yo, my nigga, opportunity. And bloom, blah, bloom, here we are. Because we all know them next Red Table Talk numbers are about to be booming. It just sucks that everyone is saying that he laughed and then changed his mind as if he actually thought it was funny, because at the end of the day, we really don't know. But anyways, here's my thing. I've been hearing a lot of people, especially white people, saying things like,
violence is never the answer. You need to use your words. This was a classy event. Blah, 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 blah.
shut up, shut up. First off, white people don't need to speak on violence. Y'all invented violence. And second, when it comes to protecting your family, while I may have handled it differently, I'm not about to tell somebody what the necessary level of violence is when it comes to protecting your own. Violence may not be the answer, but it is an answer. I think the energy that he had when he sat back down and was on some keep my wife's name out your mouth should have been what he started with. And if Chris wanted to keep on talking and being disrespectful, then that's a whole other different situation. But I'm so tired of people saying violence is never the answer. Should it be your first reaction? Nah, but it's definitely situational. And sometimes people need to be reminded that they can't just run their mouth. People need to stop acting like calling something a joke or freedom of speech is enough for someone to not have to deal with the consequences of what they say. And while I'm here for comedians being comedians, dark humor and all, it needs to also be accepted that you need to be prepared to deal with the different types of reactions that you're gonna get. And most comedians, especially the more vulgar ones, would likely agree. And we as a community love to scream out protect black women. Hell, I got t-shirts and hoodies and hats and all type of stuff that say that in my store. But then people will try to police you when you do, or not do it when the opportunity presents itself. Too often, black women are the punchlines, especially in very uncalled for ways, and in many times not even in comedic situations. So it's nice to see somebody get clocked for it, and for that particular reason, I am not mad. But to be honest, there were only 3 things that actually bothered me about Will Smith when it came to this whole fiasco. The first is a hypothetical, but I'm sure we could all probably agree on this, and that he was very selective on who he chose to smack, because he for sure wouldn't have done this to a white person. He definitely wouldn't have done this to someone who's bigger than him or who could actually beat his ass, and he definitely wouldn't have done this to someone who's more respected or prestigious than him. And again, this is just a hypothetical, but I mean, come on, we kind of know. I think his frustration of everything that's been going on publicly within his relationship just really started to bubble up, and Chris Rock just became an easy target. Which brings me to my next thing that bothered me about Will with this whole situation. Like I said, protect your woman however you feel is necessary, but I do think this was excessive only because I think it was misdirected anger. You and your wife, well, mostly Jada, you guys have opened up your lives and your relationships to the world, and with that will come ridicule and people's unfiltered opinions and criticisms. I understand why you would be frustrated, even though you kind of brought it on yourself. But at the same time, where was this energy for August? Where was this energy for Rick Ross? Of the things that celebs and non-celebs have said about you and your wife and your relationship, what Chris Rock said was definitely not the worst. So come on, bruh. Really, bruh? But again, I'm not Will. I can't speak on his personal triggers. But what I will say is I don't think his reaction was about Chris Rock personally. He wasn't defending her from him. He was defending her from those jokes about her hair, her health, and her overall well-being. And that's understandable. The last thing that bothered me about this whole Will situation is the fact that he apologized. In general, I hate celebrity apologies because I feel like they're not apologizing for how they actually feel or the things that they said. Really, it's just them doing damage control and trying to keep themselves from being canceled. And on a social level, being a celebrity in such a PC world, I understand politically like why he apologized, but I think that shit is so whack. Like, if you think you acted excessively, then just say that. I don't think there should be an apology when it comes to protecting your family. The last thing I want to talk about, and really it's the main thing, and that's respectability politics. Let's talk about it. I've been seeing some people saying things like, oh, this was a black production team and Will Packard's never gonna be invited to do another Oscars, and why we always gotta act up in front of white people, and Will has ruined it for other black people in the industry. Honestly, y'all who are thinking like this, Stephen A. Smith, y'all need to shut the hell up. No black people should lose any opportunities because of what Will did. We too often say to each other, don't act up in front of white folks, and that's really an idealism that we need to start breaking down. We gotta stop acting like the actions of one or a few black people is a cookie cutter representation of the culture, because we're low-key co-signing what white people have already been doing. And that's using one Negro as a trial run to see if their performance or their attitude or their entire being is acceptable enough to let the others in. Will's actions are just that, his actions. And if his actions make it harder for black people to gain accessibility in certain spaces, then those white people need to acknowledge the lack of accessibility in the first place. And that the playing field isn't level and things aren't equal or fair, and that they believe that black people need to present themselves accordingly or in a manner that's acceptable to them in order to receive respect. So cut that shit out. The only thing that I don't like here as far as black people doing in front of white people is making black women the punchline of a joke, especially when it's about something that is so culturally exclusive to us. Alopecia isn't culturally exclusive to us, but hair in general is. And it has become such a political thing that's been used against us because of white people. So sitting here in front of an audience of white people encouraging them to laugh at a black woman's hair is beyond disgusting to me. So for that, you get smacked up. But anyway, to conclude all of this, I just want to say that you don't have to take sides. Not wanting to see violence between black men or violence inflicted on a black man and also protecting black women by all means can exist simultaneously. But what are you guys' thoughts about what happened? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? Do you feel like Will was more in the wrong? Do you feel like Chris deserved? Wait a minute, speaking of which, can we just take a moment to acknowledge the fact that Chris ate that smack? Initially, I thought he got punched in the face and I was about to say, damn, bruh didn't budge. Will has no hands and Chris is sturdy as a rock. Ching. But then I saw that Will actually slapped him and not punched him, but Chris Rock straight up ate that shit. At first, I thought it was fake. I'm sure a lot of us for a moment thought it was fake, but then when I saw Chris's reaction and he couldn't even like roll out jokes and be witty with it, because he could have been like, wow, I'm in quite an entanglement.
Okay.
Once I saw Chris's reaction, I was like, oh no, this was real. That man deserved an Oscar just for holding his composure together, because it couldn't have been me. Seriously, if the show must go on was a person, like if I'm ever in a job interview and they're like, hey, what does professionalism mean to you? I'm gonna be like, Chris Rock at the Oscars 2022. You feel me? Anyways, share your thoughts below. I really would love to hear what you guys think about this, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.